And late tonight, British Prime Minister David Cameron answered Obama's calls for more support, announcing he will recall Parliament so it can vote on Friday on whether to join the U.S.-led airstrikes. Earlier, I spoke with Anthony Seaboyer in New York City. He teaches political science at Kingston's Royal Military College, which trains officers for Canada's military. And I asked him what more Canada could be contributing to the fight against ISIS.
Well, Canada's gained a lot of experience in Afghanistan, for example, with fighting and dealing with indigenous irregular forces and military forces, locals on the ground. There's a good understanding of the social, cultural context, of the religious dynamic of the conflict, and this is fairly rare, the experience and expertise we have. Also a lot of expertise in training local forces, and I think these are some of the additional factors that we can contribute beyond logistics, large logistics experience that we're already contributing right now.
Do you think that people on the ground look to Canada still in this day as different from the United States, or would they just lump us in as a close American ally?
Well, clearly we're a very close American ally, a very close cooperating partner, but I think there are definitely differences in terms of the cultures of the militaries, for example, of the cultures of the states, and I think people are aware of that, and this is also visible in the training and the way our forces act on the ground. So these are things that come together that can be part of what we can contribute to missions on the ground. And it's clear what's happening right now is not sufficient. More has to be done. ISIS has not been significantly pushed back. Their offenses have been stopped, but more is necessary, and I think Canada should and has to step up on contributing to stopping ISIS.
And so what more is necessary?
Well, obviously, this is a twofold approach that's necessary. The first is a military approach that's necessary because of the heavy weaponry that ISIS has gained, has seized from Iraqi forces, and has bought through the massive financial resource it has. But once the heavy weaponry is taken out, which essentially is counterinsurgency and counter-terrorism approaches, that is as traditionally working against terrorist organizations that hide among the civilian populations, intel work, intelligence cooperation with the United States and other local allies is essential to really go against the context, and that's the essential point that also created this terrorist organization. If you want to fight a terrorist network, you have to take out the context that has led to it growing so fast and having so many people join it.
And what do you mean exactly by that then? You have to attack the context.
Well, particularly in terms of what we're looking at in Iraq, for example, it's clear that ISIS is so strong because it's building on a Sunni uprising. So the political reasons that's led to so many people not actively fighting ISIS or supporting them even directly, these political problems have to be addressed. And the new government is trying to do that. It's been fairly slow so far. But these are long-term processes. And that is where Canada can help with expertise, for example, in dealing with the training of the Iraqi army, the Iraqi forces, but also generally building up state structures that are fair, that are democratic, and that include all parts of the society so that there's no such uprising that ISIS can build on.
So we hear from afar that ISIS is this potent military force, well-funded, lots of troops, lots of equipment, and very difficult to beat. So you have that on the one hand. On the other hand, you have the Americans with no political will, it appears, to put boots on the ground, so it's relying on airstrikes and hoping for allies, at least within Iraq, if not the Arab world. Is that going to be enough?
Well, absolutely not. Initially, it's going to make a huge difference to have the airstrikes effectively taking out the heavy weaponry. But as soon as this hybrid organization that is part military organization, part terrorist organization, as soon as the heavy military weaponry is taken out, they will hide among civilian populations. And that's where airstrikes can't be effective. That's where drone strikes can't be effective. That's where boots on the ground are necessary. These can be largely provided by coalition forces on the ground and by Iraqi forces. But the Iraqi force particularly have to be trained properly to deliver the level of professionalism that we expect. And that, again, is where Canada can step in. That's what the U.S. is doing, training Iraqi forces. That's an essential point here.
Well, as always, it's really nice having you on the show. Anthony Seaboyer, professor at the Royal Military College of Canada in Kingston. He joins us tonight from New York City.